clearing up for them what you're all about as a business. So the argument is they came here looking for high quality athletic clothing. You're validating that, okay, they're at the right place, right? So that's answering the first question. The second question is in the areas of trust and credibility. So you want to have some indicators that showcase that you're an authority and an expert in what it is that you do. So what's the history of the brand? How long has it been around for? Right? Your About Us page may have that type of information. But can you put something like thousands of satisfied customers since 2006? Says you've had thousands of customers and you've been around for 10 years. Is that the story that can be used? So your age and history and the amount of clients that you've served is one way to build that trust and credibility. Another way is to leverage any third-party endorsements you have of sorts. So when looking at, I think, your Instagram, I did see, for example, a picture with you and Marcus Lemonis, right? So a very popular guy from The Prophet. I'm familiar with them. So if you showcase that you are rubbing elbows with someone like that, it helps to validate your brand, your business, what it is you're doing. That's yet another way. And then the third way is maybe, you try to start to leverage what's called social proof. So here's where I'm asking myself, how many followers do you have on Facebook? How many, followers do you have on Instagram, etc.? So I'm going to have a quick look and I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so just pulling up your Instagram, you have 654 followers. That's not really that much, but it's something that once you're able to get that number a little bit higher, right, in the thousands or something like that, then you showcase more prominently your Instagram profile and show the amount of followers you have. So it starts to serve as a way that, hey, look how popular our site is. Basically, we have thousands of other people following our brand and what we're all about, right? So stick around, look around, etc. So those are 3 ways to build that trust and credibility. All to say is it's very important. You want to be seen and perceived as an authority and an expert in what it is that you do. So that answers the second question. The third question is, what's your value proposition, your mission statement? What makes you unique or different compared to the competition? So going back to this slide now, you're dedicated to designing, selling the highest quality athletic clothing, right? So the highest is that differentiating statement, right? It says, why are you different than everyone else? Why should someone buy from you as opposed to any other option available to them? Because in theory, or theoretically, based on your language that you're presenting, you have the highest quality athletic clothing, right? So what you want to do is actually showcase that, right? And maybe you've done that in having the slogan of saying the highest quality athletic clothing. So not only are you saying they're going to find athletic clothing here, but you're saying straight out the gate that it's the highest quality. And that helps to answer that third question of that differentiator and what makes you different. Just one word of caution is that if you're going to use that language to represent your brand, you have a responsibility to showcase the why it's the highest quality, or make it apparent as part of the user experience, and maybe we could start talking to a couple ways that could be accomplished. Ultimately, answering those 3 questions helps to lower anxiety. Lowering anxiety allows them to browse and ultimately shop with confidence, and you really allow them to move forward in a better state of mind because they have a clearer, better understanding of the key important elements of your business, specifically what you do, the fact that you can be trusted, and they understand what makes you different compared to maybe the other options available to them. So from there, I'm going to move on to like kind of this area, which is above the fold. This is, you want to have, here's where you're trying to make that secondary connection with your visitor. So you choose to have a profile of a picture. This is okay. I'm a big fan of using text, simply because you want this picture to say something about your brand, right? The problem is without any text, you're making it up to them to associate what they feel towards your brand. And although that might be a positive thing, it also could be a negative thing, right? Maybe someone says, "Oh, high athletic clothing, but I'm not a boxer," right? I don't know. Who knows what they're going to say, right? Or, this stuff, it's a toque, it's for winter, hoodie. I'm looking for summer. So you don't know what story is going to be painting in the person's head when they're looking at something. And, to be sure that they get the exact message you want them to get, I recommend using text. So in this case, in terms of your presentation, I recommend maybe you kind of have an opaque background. So this is where it's like see-through but darker. So you could add some text to it. Maybe you put the text in quotes, and then you could have something like, get fit and strong and feeling good at the same time with our high-end athletic clothing. So all of a sudden, this is representative of strength and getting strong, right? And getting fit or get ready to fight. Is it fit or fight? Get fight? See, I can't even read what that logo says in the top left. So you want to make that clear at the very least. But basically, you use it to reinforce maybe that slogan messaging you have up here with the message of what they're looking at. So they understand, okay, what they want me to get is kind of this image of me getting strong, getting fit, getting ready to fight, or whatever it is as part of the branding of your product. So that's kind of the recommendation I have for what you have now. But what I also recommend is, I'm going to give you the standard format of what I usually recommend on a site on a site where the visitor is being introduced to a brand for the first time, and that is to have a very simple and to the point presentation. So it has an opening headline, that kind of like a welcome message, but more designed to reinforce a main benefit and to get them kind of psyched up and hyped up to kind of take a look at the website. So discover how our high-end, our high quality athletic clothing can transform your body into that strong fighting spirit for success. Again, tying in your language kind of, gets them a little bit more emotionally connected to your brand because you're telling them what they're gonna get. It's gonna happen as a result of discovering about your brand, etc. And then what you want to do is you maybe want to start talking to the specifics about the product. So here's where you use kind of like bullet points, and here's where you could talk about the fabric and why, and validate why it's the highest quality. Maybe you want to talk to the various styles and the designer, and it's designed to give you an option that's representative of your inner spirit, for example, or strength through colors, patterns, designs, whatever. Maybe talk to the fact that you have new lines coming out. It says designer created fashions, conscious to keep you trendy while getting in shape. And maybe you just talk to products in stock, products are cheap, affordable, complete sets, anything that someone would need to know as kind of a preview to the rest of the user experience. You showcase it here. So what you're doing is you're actually giving them more reasons and motivation to move on, and you're kind of instilling in them key things to consider and understand about your products prior to being introduced to them. And then maybe on the right hand side, here's where you have an image, or maybe you have a testimonial, right? So someone wearing your gear, or a picture of them speaking to their experience, kind of like you had at the bottom, right? The health and wellness coach, and you have it right here because maybe you don't have some of the other trust and credibility factors that you typically would use. And all of a sudden, you're building that trust and credibility front and center with a like-minded customer and their experience, right? You're having some benefits that they know about your product, and you've really primed them to, again, shop with confidence and ultimately help to get that conversion. From there, one observation I'm going to make, in doing this video, I had a lot happening on my computer. Because I wanted to do this video, loading this site slowed down my computer quite a bit. Now, yes, I don't have the fastest computer on the planet, but it's very heavy. And I think the heaviness comes from, these backdrop images and, a lot of these effects that I see here. There's a couple of things about this type of, this, for example, is probably very heavy. It's actually choppy on my screen, as you can see. And that's a reflection that it's a deep, there's some stuff happening on the background that really takes up a lot of system resources for whatever reason. So all to say is you might want to minimize the experience, and every time you have those visuals, the visuals should be on product, right? So I think here it makes a lot of sense. Here it makes sense, right? And maybe these hero shots of the women in your clothing. I think it's less the stuff in the background. I'm not sure who is represented here. If it's something where it's if this is a pro player of some sort and you have the endorsement, maybe you choose another way to implement it, but you may not have it. I think this takes away from the product and the beauty of the product because the people are distracted. And distracted, I kind of hinted to it when it comes to anxiety. It's talking about the emotional state of the visitor, and you want to keep it clean, direct, and to the point, and only show things that really start to drill them down towards a sale. Where yes, this may help on the branding side of things, but doesn't really help on having the focus be on the product, which if they're interested and like what they see, then they're ultimately going to get closer to a conversion by drilling down into the product page, the category page, and ultimately product page, which is closer to that conversion, right? So in terms of content, the other things that maybe I would include on the home page is about you, right? And here's a classic example, right? The importance of your menus usually from left to right, right? So yes, you want to make it easy for everyone to go home. The second is about us, right? So when this is important, you're trying to build your brand. You may want to build a personal brand as well. So who's behind the site? Who's the designer? Who's the owner? What's their story? What made them start up the site, etc. All these little things help to build the brand equity of Stealth Gear in that it maybe humanizes the experience a little bit. So, if they have a little bit of an intro on the home page, that's a lead in to this About Us page, but on that page it shows who the designer is, what their vision is, their strategy, why they started it. That could go a long way to really setting the tone, right? So you have a bunch of things here as is on your About Us. I consider this and call this kind of the classic corporate About Us, but you want to have a personal one, right? So this whole format of, right, it's going to go on the home page, but I'll do it here. Somewhere within the home page, a little About Us, picture of the founder, the designer, the team, the offices, the warehouse, something unique and custom to your brand, and then have what's called a personal testimonial. I started this site because of my motto and my credo, my experience, and I'm just using some of the buzzwords I see here quickly, but it's all written in a first-person perspective, right? And all of a sudden, this first-person perspective plus this custom photo for the brand, all of a sudden has you speaking to them one-on-one. So the experience they have in the site is founder or team talking to them, showcasing them. And, it's kind of like that person walking in the store where they're left to shop by themselves versus someone coming up to them when they walk in and say, "Hi, my name is John. I'm the owner and designer of this place, and I'd be more than happy to explain anything you need to know about the products. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help you." Right? That's what this About Us ultimately does on a virtual perspective through your website. So pull this out, put it on the home page, and make it as a lead-in where click here to learn more. They click, they jump to this page. They can then see the more corporate who is and learn more about the business, the brand, and everything else you want them to know about what you're all about. So, in closing, all to say is the stuff I don't speak to, that means you're doing it quite well. If I had to choose, I would put the categories above the featured products, because if I'm a man, right from here, I have to scroll 2 folds in order to find something that I like, which would be here. Whereas if you put the category women, or even people who want to see the deals, and if they continue to scroll, then the featured items will maybe appeal to the women as they scroll through, or whatever the case may be. Just finally, a lot of times, you spend a lot of time, money, effort getting people to the site through social media. You don't want to make it as easy for them to leave. So I never recommend that you put the social media icons towards the